Today we'll be changing the automatic oil inlet tube on a Homelite Super 2 VI. I haven't been able to find any on the VI version of this, so that's what my video today is going to be about. First, we're going to start off by taking off the chainsaw bar while removing that nut, and then we're also going to remove the spark plug while we're there as well. We're going to remove the housing, and the easiest way to do that is to take off these 4 bolts here. Oddly enough, this one seems to be different than the rest, so you might want to remember that. He doesn't seem to fit into any of the other holes. Now we want to remove the handle. There's a small screw up top we want to take off. And then we also have 2 significantly longer screws on the bottom. Alright, and the handle should just slide off. And you should be able to remove the front of the housing. Sometimes it sticks a little. It should slide right off. Now we have to loosen up the engine from the housing, and we actually have 2 shorter screws on the top, and then we also have 2 screws on the bottom that we have to remove. Alright, and now the part I had trouble with was removing the engine. First thing I found was easy was to take off the switch connector. You can just leave that outside, and then you want to wiggle the whole engine out. I had trouble because the spark plug wire was catching in between the chamber and the housing. So you can always remove these 2 bolts here, and that should allow you to take the okay. So now you're free to kind of jiggle this guy around, and that should let you, sometimes it's easier to feed more in, so as you pull it out, the spark plug boot doesn't get stuck on there. And I would also like to mention I had already taken off, oh no, I haven't taken it off yet, but the trigger connector to the throttle is now, should be easier to take off. I used a little bit of pliers here. Can you see that? Alright, so now that guy's off. And it should slide right out. Alright, now here's the engine separated. Here's a air filter I made because I didn't have one at the time, but I'm also going to be replacing that. And here's a duckbill on the gas tank. That one I'm going to have to replace because mine was loose. But also here's our oil tank. and mine was smoking a lot whenever I turned it to the side, and that's because it didn't actually have, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's no duckbill on there. I don't know if it fell in there in the oil tank or what, but we're going to be replacing this whole tube here. And I'll put the part number in the description, but the new part comes with this three-way adapter, and one of them is plugged, but the duckbill will go on there, and then we'll just feed it through. So now I'm going to remove the tube, hopefully. Just gonna pull him out of there. He is all busted, actually. Don't want him falling in there. The front half of the, or not front half, but the front part of the tube is apparently busted off, so I'm gonna try to pull it off without it getting stuck in my oil tank. And right, got stuck in the oil tank. Go ahead and see if I can pull that off there. Alright, so it just slips off of there. And this is the old hose. Pretty old. And I'm just going to go ahead and clean up that fitting a little bit as best I can. So now I'm going to attempt to feed the hose into this hole into the oil tank. Looks like it might be a bit of a challenge, so. Right. Well, it appears though the new hose is a bit thicker than the old hose. I don't know if you can see that little hole right there. But I'm pretty sure, especially the wall thickness is a lot greater, so I might just drill that out, probably with a 3/16 drill bit, and then I'll feed the oil hose in there. I already tapered it, so hopefully I'll be able to fit it in the hole better. And of course you're going to have to drain the oil tank because you're going to have plastic bits in there. Alright. Now I'm going to feed the end that I tapered into that hole. Use a little bit of pliers, hopefully I'll be able to pull it through. We have some success here, and even at 3/16 seemed large, but it is pretty tight. Alright, so now that I fed it through, I'm going to go ahead and flatten off that taper I made. I'm going to go ahead and stick the oil tube on there. And of course I'm just going to go ahead, now that I've got it fed through, take this opportunity to drain the oil tank to get rid of that plastic that was in there. And you can do that by taking off that hose there as well. And you gotta fill it out because it is stuck on in there. It's a little more stuff than I thought. Alright. So now I'm just going to drain this out, make sure we don't have any plastic bits in there, and then we'll be right back. We've drained the plastic shavings out of the oil tank and threaded it back on. We're going to go ahead and stick the duckbill on the oil pressure line, and this will keep chainsaw oil from going back into the cylinder, which made mine smoke a lot. We're going to reconnect the oil supply line, and that's going to go on this one further from the bar. And now I can pull this guy back in. So he is all comfy in there, and I can go ahead now and cut off the excess. I'm gonna leave myself a little extra just in case. Oh boy. Make sure you don't get any dirt in your oil pressure line. You don't want to clog up your duckbill. I don't know if you're seeing that feed on there. Alright. So now we have our oil pressure lines back on. Everything's ready to go. You might want to take this opportunity to clean off all the old sawdust and oil to make room for all the new sawdust and oil. And we'll be right back to reassemble. Some major cleaning. Not completely clean, but it is a chainsaw. Just want to point out that that's where the oil comes out, so you need to make sure that's not plugged or any junk's in there. Alright, so now I'm going to put the new air filter on. This was the old one. Pretty dirty. It was actually would only run if it was running rich, so we got the new one. Go ahead and put him in. Alright. Go ahead and put the oil cap back on. And then we'll attempt to slide this back in there, and we want to make sure that we get our spark plug wire in there at the same time. Actually seems to be best if you can put it, I don't know if you can see that, underneath into this little cutout here. Let's see if I can get that all in at once. I need another hand, maybe. Let's go ahead and put him in first, actually. Put him in first, then I should just be able to slide it in. Alright, well there you go. Don't forget to put your bolts back on for your, can't figure out what this is called, dynamo? Okay, put on the switch wire. Everybody's still in there, and now we're going to put the two bottom screws on. Trying to line up the screw holes on the housing with the screw holes on the engine. Getting a little bit of trouble with that. The best way to do that is to actually pick it up, support it back here and on the front, and then push it in with your thumbs. And it should slide right in then. And then try not to hit the exhaust port onto your bench, because that'll push the screw holes out of alignment. Okay, put the two top ones on. Great, and while you're here, you might want to just try sticking your cover on. And before you do that, you might want to attach your trigger throttle connector. Good thing we got Smokey the Bandita here. Alright, you can sometimes bend it to get it on there a little easier, but this is probably one of the hardest parts of it. And I don't know if you can see in there. Let's see if this goes in. There's a little hole on the throttle plate there. Just feed him into there, the bottom, and then we're going to feed the top part into the hole on the trigger. Okay, once you get it through, you want to straighten it out so it doesn't fall off. Alright. Now you want to go ahead and put your cover on, if you'd like. And we'll go ahead and we can now reattach the outer half here. You just kind of want to slide it in. mine, the odd screw was the silver one that went in the front bottom. Now we're ready for the handle. I find it's easier to put the bottom ones in first. Might be helpful to move your hand guard. And don't tighten it up all the way. Okay, still kind of loose. Now we can put that top one on. Put him there. This one was a little tricky. I don't know if he's threaded odd or something. Maybe he's been taken off too many times. Tighten him up. And we'll tighten up the other guys. Okay, now we can go ahead and put the chainsaw bar back on and reinsert the spark plug, and we should be good to go. I'm pretty sure y'all know how to do that. Sometimes it's helpful to release the tension on the screw there so that the bar goes on easier. But otherwise, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video, and probably from what you've seen, you can probably do it better than me the next time.